the caste system in ancient Cham and Khmer societies, adapting Indian hierarchies. Introduction. Beyond the Indian model. When we think of ancient social structures influenced by India, the term caste system often comes to mind, evoking images of rigid, birth-based divisions. Indeed, the ancient kingdoms of Southeast Asia, including the Cham and Khmer empires, absorbed profound cultural, religious, and political influences from India, from Hinduism and Buddhism to Sanskrit language and legal codes. But did these powerful empires truly adopt a full-fledged caste system with its strict Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra divisions and notions of ritual purity? Or did they adapt these concepts, blending them with indigenous social structures to create something unique? Join us as we explore the fascinating social hierarchies of ancient Cham and Khmer societies, revealing how they embraced aspects of Indian social thought while forging their own distinct systems of stratification. Chapter 1. Indianization and Social Stratification, a Foundation. The process of Indianization involved the selective adoption and adaptation of Indian cultural and political models, often facilitated by Brahmins and merchants. This certainly influenced the social structures of Cham and Khmer societies. Brahmanical influence. Both the Cham and Khmer elites highly valued Brahmins. These Indian or Indianized priests played crucial roles in court rituals, legitimized kings through ceremonies, served as advisors, and were repositories of Sanskrit knowledge, including religious texts and legal treatises. Their elevated status mirrored that of Brahmins in India, placing them at or near the top of the social hierarchy. Kshatriya. Idealism. The concept of the warrior king, the Kshatriya ideal, was also highly influential. Cham kings often bore Sanskrit names with the suffix Varman, indicative of their warrior status. Khmer kings, too, saw themselves as powerful rulers, often divine manifestations, akin to the Kshatriya class. This legitimized their military prowess and right to rule. Sanskrit and indigenous languages. While Sanskrit was the language of the elite, inscriptions also reveal the use of indigenous languages, suggesting a linguistic divide that correlated with social status and access to education. However, the evidence suggests that the full rigid fourfold Varna system, with its strict endogamy and hereditary occupations, did not fully take root in Southeast Asia. Chapter 2. The Cham Social Hierarchy. Flexibility within influence. The ancient Cham Kingdom, a collection of city-states along the central Vietnamese coast, displayed a social hierarchy that, while influenced by India, maintained significant local characteristics. King at the apex. The king was at the top, often revered as a divine figure, a manifestation of Shiva or Vishnu. Elite classes. Below the king were the royal family, high-ranking officials, and the Brahmin priests. Inscriptions reveal a class of powerful local lords or chieftains who often held significant regional authority within the confederated structure of Champa. Warrior class. The suffix Varman, Ni Varman, in royal names points to the importance of a warrior aristocracy. Commoners and artisans. The majority of the population consisted of commoners involved in agriculture, fishing, and trade. Cham society was known for its maritime activities, and merchants formed an important segment. Artisans who built the magnificent Cham temples also occupied a respected place. Slavery. Like many ancient societies, slavery existed, often from war captives or debt bondage. These individuals were at the bottom of the social ladder. Key differences from Indian caste. Flexibility and mobility. While there were distinct social strata, there appears to have been more fluidity than in India. Cham historical records and anecdotal evidence suggest a degree of social mobility, particularly through military service or royal favor. Absence of strict jati system. There is no clear evidence of the thousands of hereditary occupational subcastes that characterized Indian society. Matriarchal traces. Even after Indianization, some Cham communities retained traces of a matriarchal or matrilineal system in family and inheritance. a distinct difference from the patriarchal Indian model. Chapter 3: The Khmer Social Structure, a royal-centric pyramid. The Khmer Empire, particularly during its Angkor Wat period, also featured a hierarchical society, strongly influenced by Hindu ideals, but ultimately adapted to serve the centralized power of the king, the Devaraja king. At the absolute pinnacle was the king, often revered as a Chakravartin and a Devaraja, a living manifestation of Shiva or Vishnu. His authority was absolute, both temporal and spiritual. Royal family and nobility. Surrounding the king was a large royal family and a powerful nobility who held administrative, military, and religious positions. These were the elite, often possessing land and significant wealth. Brahmins and priests. Brahmins, along with other religious functionaries, formed a highly respected and influential class. They performed rituals essential for royal legitimacy and advised the king. Inscriptions detail vast land grants and resources allocated to temples and the Sangha, bureaucracy and professionals. A sophisticated bureaucracy managed the vast empire, including water management, taxation, and military logistics. Skilled artisans, architects, sculptors, and engineers were crucial for building the monumental temples, and while they were part of the general populace, their specialized skills likely afforded them a respected status. Peasants. The vast majority of the population consisted of peasants, primarily rice farmers, who formed the economic backbone of the empire. They lived in villages, paid taxes, and provided corvée labor for royal and religious construction projects. Their lives were tied to the land and the centralized hydraulic system. Slaves. At the bottom were slaves, acquired through warfare, debt, or being born into slavery. Inscriptions frequently mention slaves being donated to temples, serving various roles from manual labor to specialized tasks. They were considered property, adaptation, not direct replication, king supremacy. Unlike India, where Brahmins held ultimate ritual purity, the Khmer king was the undisputed apex, holding both temporal and spiritual authority. Brahmins served the king, rather than being independent ritual authorities above him. No rigid Varna system. While the Varnas are mentioned in some inscriptions, they primarily functioned as idealized categories rather than rigid, birth-determined social classes with strict endogamy and ritual purity rules like in India. Social mobility, though limited for the majority, was possible, especially for males through military service or religious ordination. Emphasis on corvée labor. The Khmer system relied heavily on the forced labor of its peasant population for monumental construction, a system distinct from the occupational specialization of the Indian Jati system. Conclusion: hierarchies shaped by local realities. In essence, neither ancient Cham nor Khmer societies adopted the full rigid caste system as it was practiced in India. Instead, they selectively borrowed elements of Indian social organization and philosophical concepts, particularly the high status of Brahmins and the ideal of the Kshatriya king. These elements were then integrated into their existing social structures, which were shaped by their unique economic needs, political ambitions, and indigenous traditions. What emerged in Champa and the Khmer Empire were complex, hierarchical societies where status was determined by a combination of birth, royal favor, religious position, and economic function. These were societies built on a clear distinction between elites and commoners, but with a degree of fluidity and local adaptation that set them apart from the highly stratified system of their Indian mentors. They stand as powerful examples of how cultural borrowing leads not to mere imitation, but to innovative transformation. What aspect of Cham or Khmer social hierarchy do you find most intriguing? Share your thoughts in the comments below.